Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala barakatuh. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Alhamdulillah, in the previous video, I have explained how our human nature in the realm of the primordial form at Azali, we have the three interchangeable component, that is our spiritual as our spirit, our roh. We have the heart or the cow, alright? So this is the SE or the emotional self, and the akal, okay? The mind, alright? So this is our existence when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala endowed us with this capacity to become a human being with free will, with responsibility for our action, and with the intellect required to take this task, this great task of being the Caliph of Allah on this earth. So once we are already ordained to be a human being, we have a wonderful journey throughout our life. And that journey begins when we are infused into the physical form. And when we are infused in the physical form, that is our existence from the alamul ruh to the alamul that we are living in this world, alamul dunya. Alright, so our physical self can be this component. This is what we call our jasad, or our P. Jasad, that means our physical form. This physical form, this is our self now. That means when we have all these three components, the four components, S, E, M, and P, our self, our nafs here consists of all these four forms as we exist on this earth. So this is just a temporary vehicle for us to choose to excel and become a true and sincere servant of Allah, or descend to become the worst of the worst. So what is important is for us to understand that this world is a world of challenges, a world of testing, a world of progress or regress. So what is important for us to understand is that every decision that we make, the sum total of all our actions that affects our S, E, M, and P in this world will be judged by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So because we have this four realm consonant with our existence on this earth, we are responsible for ourselves to do whatever good and to follow the path ordained by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to become His true and sincere servant, to surrender and submit to Allah and worship. Because we have no other reason to exist on this earth except for us to seek Allah and seek knowledge. That means the knowledge of our existence. This knowledge, for example, of the existence at our spiritual, emotional, and mental level in the realm of the primordial and the physical aspect. These are knowledge by our great scholars like Imam Ghazali, Imam Al-Qayyim, all the great scholars from including Ibn Sina and so on. They have studied all these things, and the great tasawwuf teachers, the great Sufis, they have already explained this in detail, and they are given the inspiration, not wahyu but inspiration, ilham, for us to understand that this is the nature of our being, the nature of our existence in the primordial realm and in the world. That means in the world, S, E, M, and P. But this P is, what happened to this P, this physical form? What is important for us to know that when we die, this physical form does not exist anymore. We go back to the S, E, and M in the spiritual realm beyond space, beyond time. That is in Alam Barzah, and consequently on the Day of Judgment, and consequently towards the journey towards our after judgment, towards closeness to Allah, which is heaven, or further away from Allah, which is hell. So that journey beyond space, beyond time will take place whether we like it or not, because we are a creature created by Allah, ordained by Allah for the purpose of realizing His grandeur and glory, for the purpose of worshipping Him, for the purpose of seeking knowledge and becoming a creature of the highest form. That means we transcend the animals, the apes, the cats, the dogs, the bacteria, whatever there is. All of them cannot become the vicegerent of God on earth, we can, because of the symbolic language that is given to us, the intellect and the free will endowed for us to take this journey, this wonderful journey in which if we follow the path of Islam and Iman, inshallah we'll find this journey to be a joyful journey of achievement, of success, of fulfillment. And this is where we have to really understand, because everything that we do at the SEMP level, if we say that all the things that we do, S, E, M, and P, all right, all these S, E, M, and P, all our action, whether from our inner speech, will then be combined to become the sum total of our action and deeds and behavior on this earth. So we call that, all right, this is our totality of our total past learning history, TLPH. So later on, I'll explain to you this concept of total past learning history. And this total past learning history can be good. That means this total past learning history can be good, in which we excel and we go towards goodness. Or this total past learning history can be bad, we go towards badness. In simple form. What do you mean by goodness and badness? Goodness means we realize the grandeur of Allah, we form our life towards worshipping and acknowledging Allah, putting no partners unto Him, and we submit and surrender to Him, because we are a puny, weeny creature that is not self-reliant. If anybody says that he is self-reliant, he is fooling himself. We cannot be arrogant, because out of all in this universe, this earth is not the size of an atom. Our physical existence is not the size of even a sub-atomic particle. That is no entity. That's why the great scholar says, physically, our existence on this earth is just illusionary. No doubt we cannot say that it's totally illusionary, but it almost approaches non-existent. It almost approaches that we have no entity worthy of being called ourselves to be proud of, or to be arrogant of, or to be a denier of God. Because those who deny God, like Iblis or Shaitan, they become the disbelievers. They think they are great. It's just like many atheists today, some scientists, just because they discover one or two things, they think that they have now known everything. Yet our knowledge is so puny, weeny, small, that if we realize that our knowledge compared to the glory of the knowledge of God, from the point that He created us, the miracle of our existence, for example, we have more than 100 trillion cells, and each time this 100 trillion cells is communicating every second, 100,000 times, communicating, working together for us to exist at the physical level, at the mental level, at the emotional level, at the spiritual level, and they are working all together by the grace of who? It is that by the grace of the Creator, the supreme intellect that put us into being, that created us as such a wonderful creature with all the faculties at the spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical level, and even the phenomena at the physical level with the more than 100 trillion cells working together in synergy, creating all kind of hormones, creating all kind of neurotransmitters, giving us a perception and giving us the way in which we can then realize the glory of the Creator. And when we realize the glory of the Creator, we worship Him, acknowledge Him, submit to Him, be close to Him, realize His divine presence all the time, and inshallah, we receive His grace. And His grace is so fantastic. If only you taste the fruits of the grace of Allah, you will see the joy of being alive, the joy of living, the joy of doing something good, the joy of happening things that is in this life that transcends all the sadness and all the difficulties as we go through life. Because this life is a life of tests. So what is important is for us, our total past learning history, the total sum of our spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical perception, experience, and behavior become our total past learning history. If we go towards goodness, we achieve success, fulfillment, and all the goodness that we seek in this life. That means to be having peace, happiness, and success. If we go and towards this direction of denial of God, thinking that we are in control of this world or this universe, doing all the destructive things that result in the destruction of our ecosystem, our civilization, our social equilibrium, then this badness will lead us to sadness, failure, and finally our own self-destruction. So this is where we must understand that this aspect, the physical aspect, when we pass on, it is just the imprint of the physical aspect. That means it's no more in existence. It's only have, this is in the realm of the hereafter, this imprint of our physical existence will then be the sum total of either goodness or badness. That means we have the positive imprint and the negative imprint. If our TPLH is more negative, then we suffer, and this suffering will result in our loss in this world and the hereafter. If our total past history is more imprinted with all the goodness at the spiritual, emotional, and mental and physical level, then this imprint will bring us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where we receive His divine love, grace, mercy, protection, help, assistance, and all those things that you desire and want in this life. All the goodness that we seek and all the goodness that will be given to us. And it is a miracle that I invite you to share and enjoy the wonderful life of being an achievers in the way of Islam. See you inshallah in the next episode.